Average Woodsman here, back with another video. So in the spirit of hunting season, which is obviously my favorite time of year, I wanted to do a video on some of the rifles that I use, talk about why I use them, and also talk a little bit about the brush gun concept and the cartridges, because here in the southeast where I live, here in Florida, I have shot very few animals out past 50 yards, let alone 150, 200 yards. So the brush gun is really, I think it really is something that is applicable to here in Florida, especially here in the area that I hunt, where your most shots are going to be within 25 to 50 yards, rarely one over 100. The brush gun has been around for a long time as a concept and a practice, and I just kind of want to discuss my thoughts on it and the rifles that I've chosen and why I chose them. One of the rifles that I use, or I used to use a lot more, I haven't been using it as much recently, but I used to use it a lot. I don't have it today, I didn't bring it with me, but I'll roll in like a photo or something like that of it with an animal that I shot with it, probably a hog. I've been doing a lot of hog hunting and small game, bird, things like that, dove, and squirrel, rabbit, all those types of animals, and a lot of hog hunting the past couple of seasons. This season I really want to focus on deer. I haven't got a deer in a while, and I'd like to get a deer. So that's another reason why you're talking about being out in the deer woods. You're talking about thick, dense brush. You're talking about pine forest and cypress swamps. You're talking about areas that are going to be difficult to hunt with a long-range rifle using a Spitzer bullet, something like a 7mm, a 308, 300 Win Mag, something like that. You're not going to use that in really dense brush in the deer woods here in the southeast. So let's go ahead and get into it, and I'll break everything down for you guys, and I'll show you guys the rifle. Alright guys, so these are the three rifles I'm going to discuss today. Like I said, I have another rifle that I use a lot, or I used to use a lot. It's a Taylor's & Company. It's by Chiappa, it manufactures it, and Taylor's & Company imported. It's one of their takedown rifles. It's called the Alaskan Takedown. It's in 44 Magnum. I'll go ahead and roll that in so you guys can see it. Alright, so I'm going to start off with the 4570 first. So this is a Henry and chambered in 4570. It's a single shot break action. I've had this one for quite a while. I added a sling to it, obviously. I used to have a scope on here. I actually changed it out to a red dot. This company sent me this red dot for testing. I haven't got to test it much. I figured putting it on this 4570, especially being a lightweight rifle like this, it would put a lot of stress on the actual optic and see if it holds zero really well. So far it's doing fine. I haven't put a lot of rounds through it, but it is zeroed. If you guys are interested in this optic, I'll put a link down below for it in the description, and there's also a coupon code for it for 30% off. So far it's been good. It's basically like a copy of a Aimpoint Micro. It has similar battery life, all that type of stuff, similar build, but yeah, it's been really good so far. I've only had it for a short period of time though. So this rifle was my go-to for a few years. I have kind of moved away from it a little bit, just for now, as I'm hunting with other types of rifles and some newer rifles that I've purchased recently. But what I really like about this specific rifle is how lightweight and handy it is. It has a full 20-inch barrel, so you get good velocity, but it's still compact and easy handling in the deer woods when you're in the thick stuff because of the type of action. It's a break action single shot. 4570 is probably my favorite brush gun cartridge because of the way that it tends to just punch through vegetation. It tends to punch through all types of brush to get to your target. I don't know if it is the fact that it's a 45 caliber bullet, if it's the sectional density, if it's the actual projectile you're using, if it's heavy for caliber, or if it's just everything that the 4570 is. It tends to be better than other cartridges. So that's why I like the 4570. I like this gun because it's lightweight and handy. If you need something with more rounds and not a single shot, you could always go with a lever action if you wanted to. I like the single shot because of how lightweight and handy this is. I can carry it all day. The next rifle is my Ruger American. This one's chambered in 300 Blackout. One reason why I really like this rifle specifically is because of how short the barrel is. It works really well in areas where you have a lot of thick, dense brush. It works really well in there. You're able to handle really well. It's fast. This one is on this is a 1 to 6 power primary arm scope, so you can actually, you have pretty good magnification even out at distances. If you wanted to shoot at a couple hundred yards, you could, especially with the 300 Blackout. It has pretty decent terminal performance at range. One thing I will say about the 300 Blackout, because it uses a Spitzer style bullet, it does not tend to punch through thick, dense brush as good as something like a 45-70 or a 44 Magnum or a 357 Magnum, cartridges like that. It tends to be knocked off target a lot easier, so just take that into consideration. I still like it for Florida because of how good 300 Blackout does on hogs and deer, those types of animals. The 300 Blackout is perfect for medium-sized game. So last but certainly not least, my Ruger Marlin. This is the new ones that are produced by Ruger. The Marlin 336. This is the Trapper model, so it has a shorter barrel, it's threaded, and has a laminated stock. I really like this rifle. It has become probably my favorite rifle that I currently own. I have other rifles that I've owned for a long time. You saw some of them. I have my AR-15, which I've owned for years and years and years. I have other rifles that I've owned for a long time. This is just such a cool, relatively lightweight, handy rifle to have out in the deer woods. It has quickly become my favorite. I have the actual hammer spur. It just keeps wanting to come off, so I'm gonna probably have to use red Loctite on this. I tried blue, but for some reason all the hammer spurs I've ever put on these rifles, when you add a scope to it, they've all stayed on with blue Loctite. This one for some reason will not stay on with blue Loctite, so I'm probably gonna have to put red Loctite on it. Just a heads up, I do actually have the hammer spur extension for this. It just came off, so I wrapped the big loop. I did that. This one has a fluted bolt on it. It's super accurate. It is smooth as butter, and I added a loophole. This is the VX Freedom. This is the 1.5 to 4 power, which is like a perfect optic. This optic is pretty lightweight, and it's perfect for this type of setup where you're only going to be shooting out to 100 to 150 yards with this rifle. It's not a 300-400 yard gun. The cartridge isn't either. The 30-30 is just not a long-range cartridge. I have it 0 to 100, so it's going to be in that 8-inch vital area on something like a deer. You're going to be well within that all the way out to 150 yards. In my opinion, a 30-30 is a very underrated, underappreciated cartridge, slept on a lot, and I just don't see why. It's perfect for what I hunt. I hunt well within 100 yards for the majority of my shots. I'm hunting medium-sized game, hogs, deer, coyote, stuff like that. Nothing massive. I'm not out hunting, Kodiak grizzly, so I don't need a massive Magnum cartridge. It does good in the thick stuff. It has enough terminal performance, enough muzzle energy, a good enough BC where it's accurate out at 150 yards or even out to 200 if you have a good zero. And yeah, I really like it. I've always liked the 30-30. One of the first rifles I ever hunted with was a Model 94 in 30-30. And so it's just one of my favorite cartridges, and then mixed with this rifle, I mean, you can't beat it with the shorter barrel. It's just more compact, it's more lightweight, and it's better for that type of hunting, that brush gun style of hunting out in the deer woods where it's thicker, it's more dense cover, you're not taking any really long shots. And I've been using the same as with the 45-70 with the Henry. I use the Underwood loaded, their Lehigh Defense extreme penetrator bullet, and I've had really good success with the 45-70. It drops them right where they stand, so I'm assuming that this is going to be just as good. I can't wait to hit a deer with it or a coyote and see what that little 30 caliber extreme penetrator is going to do to those, because it doesn't just penetrate, it also does a lot of, it creates a pretty large wound cavity. So pretty excited about that. Anyway, remember to like, subscribe, share these videos with your friends and family. Please go down in the description of this video and check out the affiliate links. That's how I support this channel. Be safe, stay dangerous, and I'll catch you on the next one.